I'm going to call our meeting to order, the regular board meeting for Sunrise School Division for August the 25th. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to call our meeting to order. We're going to have O Canada by Hazel Ridge School. Please stand if you can do so. Thank you to Hazel Ridge School. Appreciate it. Again, welcome back to everyone. We are going to have our treaty acknowledgement. I'm going to ask Trustee Dent, please.
We acknowledge the traditional land upon which Sunrise School Division resides as Treaty 1 territory. We honor our partnership with Canada's original peoples and respect the gifts of Indigenous history, culture, and language. We commit to moving forward in partnership with our communities in the spirit of collaboration and reconciliation.
Thanks, Trustee Dent. So we're on to the adoption of the agenda. So be it resolved, the board approve the agenda. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Dent and seconded by Trustee Rowan. Any questions to it? Anything to add? Hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 8-0. Thank you very much for that. Chair's comments are a reminder that if you do have questions, please send them to jody.thiessen@sunrisesd.ca. We will put your names and addresses in there, and we will try to get, we will get to your questions at the end of the meeting. Share a story. I'm going to open it up to the floor. Anybody want to share a story? Trustee Wilson.
Okay, on June 19th, I attended Lactabani Senior School Convocation and presented an award to the student with the highest mark in Pre-Calculus 40F and another award to the highest mark in Applied Math 40F. Both awards were earned by Parker Thompson, who happens to be Russ Reed's grandson, so I thought it was really appropriate. On June 20th, I attended White Mouse School Convocation. On June 26th, I attended Centennial Got Talent at Centennial School, and what a talented group of performers. They were very mature for their age, some dancers too, Dustin. Finally, on June 29th, I attended the farewell at Centennial School.
Thanks, Trustee Wilson. Anyone else? So I'm going to share along a folder to the to our trustees for you to go ahead and take a look at. These are from some of the students that received awards from us, and they sent some thank yous to us. So I'm going to pass this around so that you get a chance to take a look at it. Oh, sorry, Trustee Rowan.
I had the opportunity to stop in to hear the students practicing at the Springfield Band Camp and then to hear them perform at their final performance last week. As always, I was blown away at how much music the students learn in such a short time frame. The show on Friday evening was fantastic.
Thanks, Melissa. Anyone else? So it's August the 25th. Trustees, if you get a chance to get into our schools, you should see the floors. They're spit shine. You know what? Our schools look great. I had a chance to get into two of them, and our custodial staff have been working quite well over the summer, quite hard. Certainly pass that along to Neil with his crew, but they look pretty impressive. So, and I know you're going to share more information about how things happened, things later on, but they look great. Anyone else share a story? Okay. We don't have any board delegations, so we have our minutes. So our June 16th minutes, be it resolved that the board adopt the June 16th regular board meeting minutes. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Rowland and seconded by trustee Smith. Any questions? Trustee Boyton.
It's not really a question. I'm going to be abstaining from that because I wasn't at the meeting. So I did go through the minutes, and I noticed that one of the trustees had left earlier. And it shows that in the attendance that the trustee is there. And then before any real motions happened, the trustee had left. And I just thought maybe we need to put a time or in the attendance list that, the person left early, because I know it has happened before. So sometimes if you're looking through the minutes, you think, well, and the reason I noticed it is because of all the motions that were like 7-0, and then all of a sudden they were 6-0. I thought, like, how can that be if there were 7 people? So I don't know whether we have to do that in a bylaw or it's just something I noticed that people might question.
That's a great point. We should probably put it into our minutes that people left. And even while you're away, you're still checking up on us.
Yeah, it did say further on that the trustee left, but it should say in the attendance.
No, it's something
Yeah.
that's noted, and that's something that Mr. Reed can go ahead and work on. Thank you. So we have the motion that's on the floor. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 7-0 with 1 abstention. Thank you. June 30th, we had a special board meeting, so we need to make sure that we receive those minutes. Be it resolved that the board adopt the June 30th regular board meeting minutes. Moved by trustee Boyton and seconded by trustee Rowan. Any comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. And it passed 8-0. Thank you for that. Superintendent's report. Mr. Reed.
Well, not too much to report on over the summer, but just a reminder that Tuesday, September the 8th is our first day of school with our students returning, grade 1 to 12 students returning on the 9th. And all of our schools that have kindergarten will be phasing those kids as some sort of staggered entry throughout the week, and that's specific to the school. Just also a reminder back to the spring, quite a number of our school administrators changed schools, so in the report there's a reminder and a list of the administrators that are changing the school. Happy to report that all of our new administrators have set foot in their new buildings this fall already and are back to work, so it was good to see them in their buildings and excited to be taking on their new challenges. One of the pieces of learning that happened over the summer is the assistant superintendent and myself had the opportunity to attend the Manitoba Association of School Superintendents Summer Institute. The focus was on Indigenous education and several delightful and engaging speakers that shared their wisdom with the group. And I think the big takeaway there was Sunrise is doing excellent work with the implementation of the Mama-Twist-Win document and the work that's going on in our schools. So proud of that work and encouraging our schools to keep carrying forward with that. And just as we kind of come to the end of the summer and get ready for the school year, the majority of our schools are staffed up and ready to go. At the time of the report, we did have 2 teaching vacancies, and I'll speak to those a little bit later in the meeting. But yeah, two teaching vacancies that we still need to address before we start the school year. But I do know that one set of interviews is happening on Friday for those, so I think we are in good shape with our staffing at our schools to start the year.
So 400 staff, and we're still looking for 1 or 2. That's not too bad, Mr. Reed. Thanks for that. Anything else for Mr. Reed? From anyone? Okay. So there's a board reporting schedule, 6.2 on the agenda. I'm going to give you, Mr. Reed, the opportunity to talk to that because we have the two programs that you're talking about.
Yeah, just right now, it's just the draft and the recording of it. The actual review of it is later on the agenda tonight, so I'll save some comments and explanation there. But just the draft is there with the update on the reports for this meeting. So,
Anything for Mr. Reed? Thanks. We'll move on to the Secretary Treasurer. Ms. Thiessen, you're up with the Treasurer's report.
Yeah, I have lots to report. It's a long document, so I'm not going to talk all night about what the departments have been up to, but there is the finance department has been busy with year-end, and one major change this year on how we pay our teachers. A memo went out to all the staff or the teachers this June to remind them that they don't receive their lump sum payment at the end of the school year. They will receive their payments over the summer months. Not a lot of feedback. We probably at the time the memo went out, there was a lot of question around it, a lot of inquiries about what that looks like, but we haven't received too much over the summer months. I think the communication ahead of time helped, as well as the STA did let their union group know as well that this is coming down the chute. It is the language in the union contract that this is happening. So that was a big change for payroll. And then we've been doing some additional analysis. We recognize that there's been some pensions where teachers are eligible for pension who are usually filling in as terms or subs, and they meet the requirements of pension. So we're tracking that now, and in the past we used to flag it, but now we've pulled in a report that can track this, so there's no surprises in the end. So we're doing further reporting on that, and we'll be reaching out with the pension group just to make sure that we're tracking it accordingly. So that's new for the department. That was a bit of a summer project. Purchasing, every year the big thing is getting the furniture into the school before the students show up. We shifted gears last year to get the furniture delivered early July. It usually has an impact on our maintenance department on how they maintain and do their summer cleaning, but it was successful because we would get the furniture ahead of all the metro schools like Winnipeg One, River East, Louis Riel. So we were successful at getting our furniture ahead of time. This year, a lot of the manufacturers were informing us that there were delays. So instead of receiving some of the furniture in July, we were still receiving it late in August. So that seems to be a bit of a challenge for the purchasing department to make sure we receive all the products before the students arrive. So we had a big order this year, and some of the items are still lingering, but our purchasing department's following up with all the outstanding pieces and getting delivery dates. So that's a big focus for them right now. IT, it was a slower summer. It wasn't that they weren't doing anything, they just are not implementing and doing new computer renewals. What they did was more of a refresh on the computers, re-imaging, refreshing them so they're not slow when the staff show up. We also had to do some iPad software updates. So they took the time and focused on the inventory and the items in the schools to do the refreshers and the security updates. And another big project was the Wi-Fi access points. So in our schools, we do have wireless systems. So we did experience a major outage in the month of February. So the board proceeded to allow the division to go purchase an all-new network system, which is basically those little squares on the wall here. So every school is getting a new access points and improving where they're located. We've also identified some improvements by just placing them in a better location. So that was summer work. We can say everybody except 4 units have been installed. We're still waiting for 4 units to arrive, but we think it was a successful rollout. There is still some interactive displays that still have to be installed, but the last 2 weeks here in August, they're planning to roll that out as well. So IT has been busy, but just not with computer refreshes. Maintenance is another big report, but an update, if folks didn't know, in Powerview School during August 11th to the 14th, there was the Indigenous Games that occurred. Originally, it was supposed to be Lactabani Senior and Powerview, but due to their registration enrollment, it sounds like only Powerview was needed. There was no major, the feedback I've received so far hasn't been, there hasn't been any major issues. Seemed to go well. The areas that they utilized was the washrooms and the gym as intended. We did ask the custodian staff to split their shift, usually during the summer hours. We get them to work during the day, but they split their shift. There was somebody there while the events were taking place. And then we had 2 custodians that retired over the summer, Sharon and Craig, so we wish them all the best. They were, it was great to meet them, and the schools will miss them. So, and then transportation, quick update there. I know the report looked long. There was a lot of work that took place, but I just want to say welcome to our new manager, Dwayne Gregorish, as well as our new lead bus trainer, Bridget Boyle. I hope I pronounced her name right, but she started in July, and so we have some new faces in the transportation department, learning lots and learning the area, so welcome to them. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to ask.
Thanks, Jody. Any questions for Jody? We're good? All right. So Jody, let's keep going on. Is that you have the divisional financial summary report?
Yeah. We're reporting this earlier in our reports or in our agenda. So the last time we did the analysis for a divisional financial summary was back in June for our June Finance Committee report. So some of this information is older. We are working on the preliminary year end. So I can say the projected surplus is no longer $2 million. It has been reduced. The intention was that departments like transportation and maintenance would be spending dollars by the end of the year. So it's come down quite a bit to about $500,000, but we still have some accruals to do. So some accruals for revenues and expenses. So we'll see where we are, but it's no longer a $2 million surplus, which I think is always the goal when we budget. We want to be as close to the dollar that we intended to spend as usual. So I'll provide a further report later on in September once those numbers are updated and finalized. Any questions on that one?
Anything for Jody? Jody, thanks for sharing that certainly with us and with us early as to where we are. We do remember, or I do remember us talking about where we were with dollars and cents and about spending certain money in certain areas for us to where some one-time costs could be done. And thanks for reporting on those things as to where they are. No other comments from anyone? Okay. And then also you have the maintenance summer projects. I'm going to give that to you as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll do a deep dive in this one because there is quite a bit of work. I just want to say congratulations to Neil and his team. Neil is our maintenance manager. Him and Roxanne have been busy this summer making sure these projects are getting done, coordinating with a lot of individuals between communicating with principals, communicating with the local maintenance team and various user groups. There's a lot of work that was being done throughout all these projects. So not only do we have our normal summer cleaning where we're waxing floors, I've showed some pictures here at ESS. I think I need to wear sunglasses when I walk into that school, so it's so clean and so bright. But the school is looking amazing, and most of the schools, I haven't been able to get to everyone this summer, but the work that's been done is outstanding. Some schools we've had always work that's been major construction work. a school like SCI has been under construction for a number of summers. And I want to say kudos to SCI for getting as much as they can done this year. That school has usually been the one in the last 4 years that's been with the most challenging because of the construction. I'm happy to say that the school is looking great as well and on time. But lots of work being done, mechanical system maintenance. We had to defer a project though, the Springfield Middle Years Foods Lab. We've been able, the school's been able to secure a grant. We've been able to utilize that grant to order some materials. We just couldn't do it over the summer. There has been some delays and that's been deferred, but SMS gym ceiling was a major project and it was around safety concerns. The school was experiencing debris that was falling from the ceiling, and the last thing we need is this to hit a student or a staff member or even a spectator in that room. And the team has worked long hours, and I'm happy to say this project has been running on time. And when we hopefully we'll get a chance to take a look at it later in September to see, because that room has been transformed into a great space where we won't see falling debris. What I am scared of is other schools are now going to ask for the same revamp, so we may see that coming up in budget, but the space looks really good. You'll see a lot of projects going underway. The masonry refresh, it's amazing transformation. Even Gillis School, just driving past it on the highway, how bright and refreshing it is to see. So take a look at the report. Feel free to ask questions, but a lot of good work's been done.
Thanks, Jody. Anything for Jody? Jody, I've got one. So we've got two things going. How bad is the office renovation, and what will it do to Oak Bank Elementary? And when will, because I imagine, yeah, let's just ask that question first.
Yeah, unfortunately, timing is everything. So the plan was to have this week, the time everything gets moved back to place, but we are receiving the office furniture a little bit late. So the idea is the staff will be placed in another location, but still be able to work with their technology because we have Wi-Fi. The access points are in, so they'll be able to work in another area where they can receive parents and ask their questions. It appears to be about a week behind. Yeah, furniture's arriving tomorrow.
So hopefully they're hearing this, because this is a direct question. What can they do? Because you know what, it's pretty hectic, and Oak Bank Elementary is a busy school, and there's going to be lots of people through that office as it is in the beginning of the year. Is there anything that we can do to help them? So I think that I'm one trustee that say that if I was the principal going into that building, and you know what, all of a sudden no office, and it's a busy time of the year, is there anything that we can do to help them? And so if it's possible, please reach out to them and ask them, because I know that there's probably going to be a trustee that's going to pick up the phone and call that principal and ask them how they're doing. Okay? Anyone else? Melissa?
Jody, you have on here the Oak Bank Complex drainage plan, and I'm just curious to know how extensive the work on that project is likely to be.
So I haven't taken a look at the final drawings yet. So I do know that there's been a couple rounds of discussion with the RMS Springfield. So at this time, I don't know the extent of what needs to be done, how much dirt needs to be moved and culverts to be replaced. But there is going to be culverts replaced. The level of work at this time, I don't know. But it is going to be in the range where we may consider tendering the work, because the cost, if it's greater than $50,000, is something we would consider.
Anyone else? So we're days away from school opening and a daycare opening at Centennial School, right? And we had to do a bunch of work to it. You've showed some pictures. Can you just give us an update? Because and have we had the final inspection to allow us to go ahead and open?
So What I understand is the final inspection is scheduled for this Friday, this coming Friday. The project was bumped about 2 weeks just due to the timing of delivery of materials of the cabinetry as well as flooring. There were some delays in that, which is under a major renovation like this, there is going to be some delays. We did anticipate it. They did take longer though, probably by a week, longer than we even anticipated. We're fortunate though, we're not looking at the delays like we did coming out of COVID, which were months. So this project, the plan is by this Friday the inspection happens. There is some countertops. There is a countertop that needs to be recut. The measurement was wrong, so that will not be in place at the time of the inspection. We'll find out if that will have an impact on how the inspection and if they can return to that space. But it appears that everything should go as planned after Friday. There may be some additional reworks after the feedback from the inspection. It's a tight deadline though.
Okay, so has the daycare been closed?
It was closed for, my understanding is the daycare is closed for 2 days, and that was them to decide to close for those 2 days, but we haven't required them to.
So the best case scenario that we're looking for is that come August 31st, the daycare is up and going. That's the best, that's
That
what we're
is the
aiming
best,
for.
yeah.
Okay, and the inspection is this Friday to tell us whether tell the daycare whether they can get back in there. Okay. And if there's a problem, it's all hands on deck. Okay. Because I might get a telephone call about a daycare, so I just wanted to be sure. Okay, perfect. Anything else for Jody? And Jody, again, it's been, you know what, Neil's done a great job. We're happy with what's happened and a lot of stuff going on. I think that, you know what, there's 10 more days of, oh no, there's 8 more days, 8 or 9 more working days before school starts, and yeah, it's always a busy time. So, thank you. Okay, let's go on to board business. This is a lot of you, Mr. Reid. I think 8.1 is our divisional report to the community.
Yeah, as excited as we are to start the new school year, we always have a little bit of business of wrapping up the old, and part of that is all of our schools do their school reports to the community, and as a division we put a divisional report to the community together. So happy to report that all of our school reports are done and into the office as they were back in early July, and I believe those have been moved on to school websites. Last order of business is just finishing populating some of the information in our divisional report to the community. I've put together the draft here, or shared the draft with the board. We've got a couple of pictures to update. I know there's a couple of typos in here. There's a little bit of blank space that we're going to throw one more item in there on our graduation rates across the division, and that'll be ready to share at the start of the school year. So draft there. If trustees have any feedback on it, you can send me an email, and I'll consider that and how it might fit with the overall flow of the report. But yeah, just draft there for you, and final touches to come throughout the rest of this week.
Anything for Mr. Reid on that? Comment? Okay. Anyone else? So this is a real big deal about putting this together. It's quite it's a big work of what our schools have done, and reporting for us as a board, or reporting this to our members. I think that this gives a good picture of some of the things that are going on. Thanks, Mr. Reid, for putting this together. Comments are welcome, certainly, from anyone. Okay. 8.2, I think this is you, Jody. This is our school funds annual report. And you've got each school here, but I'll turn it to you.
Yep. Thank you. There was no report that I put together. For the most part, the report or this procedure, my understanding is historically the board likes to see what the schools are doing with school funds and if the pile of money that they've collected from those students are growing, and if so, what's it for? And if it goes down and to the point where it's in a negative situation, what are they going to do about it? I can say it was interesting this time around seeing the information. We also had some administrators that are going to be moving, so the intention for those funds will hopefully transition now with this report onto the next administrator, so they know, if they're doing vending machine money and that pot's growing, what's the intention for it? So these reports will help the future administrator, and I'll be walking them through this report so they understand what their predecessor was doing with it. It's always interesting to see the direction that the schools are going with it. I'm happy to see some of them that were sitting at larger piles years ago are maintaining a lower level because they're getting money that's coming in for that school year and going out for that school year. If it's growing, it's going to be for a field trip or a long-term planning for a trip elsewhere. Or they'll have a small plan, and the nice thing is they are identifying those things here. It's also interesting to see how many do read their reports online. You can see over the years how many times they've asked those same questions over and over again. This year we had way less questions, so I'm really happy to see the administrators really utilizing the reporting system that we have. So I think what it comes down to is, I will be talking with those administrators that are facing some deficits in some budget lines, or not budget lines, in the school fund accounts, just to see how they plan to handle it. At the same time, they might go into a deficit at the end of June because they're buying, say, school supplies or various general items, and then they'll be doing a small collection in the beginning of the year for those fees for student school supplies. So I do expect to see some of that. We'll see in these reports as well, not all the grad expenses are rolled through. Some of those all happen at the end or beginning of July. So there'll be some grad balances that are a little higher than they should. One neat thing from Whitemouth, they've been pretty successful with it, is if their grad fund does result in a larger pile of money at the end after all the fundraising and after all the expenses, they do hand it out as bursaries. So they do go back into the hands of the students that were raising them. So yeah, so if anybody has questions or want further clarification, feel free to ask.
Thanks, Jody, for the explanations. Any questions from anyone? So, Jody, at the end of the day, the principals are aware that the board is seeing this. And so when schools have a lot of money in certain accounts, whether it's a canteen fund, whether it's a vending machine fund, whether it's those kind of things, the idea is that they're supposed to have a plan for it. And if they don't have a plan for it, tell them that Paul Magno wants it, right? So kidding aside, but the idea is have a plan, but you know what? It's not about stockpiling money. Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead, Ms. Boyton, you're laughing at me. Okay. Okay, there you go. Fair enough. What are you laughing over there for?
Yeah, I'm just noticing that.
Microphone.
I'm just noticing that Tony had a milk fund where he came from, and he has now a milk fund at his new school too. Stockpile. So he has the same problem at his new school. So he's got to figure out what to do with the money there as well.
The only thing that, if Oakbank Elementary has a milk fund, that has nothing to do with Tony. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. Well, that's something that, you know what, good information for these guys to go ahead and take a look at. Again, I'd rather have kids, I think that I'd rather have schools stockpile money when they're feeding kids and doing things for kids as opposed to just having a wide open fund. Anyone else? Okay. Some pretty exciting news with regard to playgrounds. Jody, you want to share, please?
Yes, after long-awaited it was interesting. After a long-awaited period of time, happy to announce that Sunrise School Division were awarded for 2 playgrounds. A lot of the school divisions were only awarded for 1, up to a limit of $100,000. But we snuck a little guy in for Cole Edward Shire School for a new swing set. So I'm happy to brag to my colleagues that we have 2 playgrounds that we get to maintain. But we have a swing set going in at Cole Edward Shire. The item was ordered. We should see it arrive in September and installed. And Gillis School, there's a huge project going on. They've been fundraising. The PAC have been fundraising for a number of years. They built up a decent amount of money, but this play structure for the total cost is going to be about $27,000 or $127,000 that's going in, and the province will pick up $100,000. The dollars that the PAC has raised, as well as the school division kicks in about $5,000, just to ensure that the right permits and location and drainage are in the right spot. So we help out with that. I'm happy to report that Gillis gets to play on a new play structure, likely in November. The items will be delivered in October and installed, so by late October, early November, we'll see a new structure there.
Jody, this is great news. So my question is, what did Gillis do? What did Gillis do to get $100,000 and our other schools not doing? Or how do you duplicate it, everywhere else?
Gillis was the benefit of being prioritized by Sunrise as the #1 need.
Okay.
And so the province put out the call for schools that would require playgrounds. I think as a division team we identified 5 sites. 4? Yeah, 5 sites. 5. And we had to prioritize them. Okay. And it was nothing that Gillis actually did. It was part of the provincial program and the priorities that we set for the school division. So yeah.
And they were the most organized.
And so that is, Jody is just reminding me that they were the parent group that actually had taken their project the farthest, which was part of our prioritizing them as #1 because they were the most advanced in their own planning and fundraising as well. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Trustee Smith?
I just had a question. Did we still do the barrier and the pea gravel at other structures?
Yeah, that is still ongoing. We've done a number of sites. There's still some to continue. I don't know if we'll be able to get to it before it frees up with all the other projects going on.
Thank you. 8.4 is portable classrooms. I turn that to you, Jody.
I don't know why I just closed my screen. Yeah, so portable classrooms at the end of the school year, we received a letter saying that École Beausejour Early Years School will be allocated another portable classroom. We're right now working with Stantec Consulting to complete the engineering design and the electrical and HVAC for the site. Usually when these giant portable classrooms show up, we have to add it to our current panel, and if not, we have to add on to our panel. École Beausejour Early Years, the school is about 25 years old, so we've seen the electrical panel, and it is close to be maxing out that we may not be able to just add on another portable. So that'll take some time. It'll probably delay the process a bit. So at this time, it's not clear for the timeline when we'll be up and running in that room, but it's good news for the school as the area, surrounding area of Beausejour and Broken Head are growing, and it is our French immersion school in the area, so we see a lot of enrollment here. So it's good news.
Questions for Jody on that? Trustee Smith?
I had a question, because I remember we had the emergency exit thing that came through. How is that going to work with that still? Because we have the 1 unit outside already. Do we have an emergency plan we had to have in place by a certain timeline?
Yeah, so the idea is that we were going to look at different options for access points in that area. I'd have to follow up with maintenance to see what the final outcome is and if they were completed. I did follow up. There was going to be another buzzer for the office. That project was delayed due to deliverables. I think the material or the unit that had to be delivered was delayed. We thought we'd get it done by July. It sounds like it still hasn't been installed. So I'll have to follow up to see where we're at with the exit or the access point there.
Anyone else? Thanks, Jody. 8.5 is a request that came to us about a Beausier football request. I'd like to thank Trustee Boyton, because Trustee Boyton forwarded to me. It wasn't addressed to myself or to Superintendent Reed. There were a number of trustees that were on it. We have shared it out with all the trustees. So when we do get a letter like that or a request, is that we do go to the superintendent and have the superintendent have a look at it. And so I'm going to turn it to you for a response here, or share the update.
Just very simply, it was some questions and correspondence about the possibility of having a football team at École Edward Schreyer School. I had a conversation with the principal, who remains open to having a football team at the school, and he's actually met with a few parent groups over the last couple of years who have expressed an interest in this. And he's just looking for any of the interested parties to put together a proposal that addresses several of the concerns around initial startup funds, student interest, either school or community-based field. But to date, none of the interested parties or the parties that have expressed interest previously have actually followed through with sort of that feasibility proposal for the principal to review with the group. And so I can reply to the sender of the email and just let them know what would be required for a football team to be further considered, which the principal and the school is certainly open to.
So, Mr. Reed, is this any different than if we were trying to have, and I'm going to choose Powerview, a hockey team in Powerview, or a football team in Powerview, or a lacrosse team in Powerview? Is this any different than we would, this process or request would happen?
No, a similar process would be used in our schools across the division, and I can actually let you know that this exact process has been used previously at École Edward Schreyer for the initial lacrosse team that was formed years ago, as well as both the boys and girls hockey team, where those groups put together a bit of a feasibility proposal that addressed facilities, budget, student interest, travel, whatever all those things needed to be. And the principal, Mr. Liskey, is just looking for the same type of proposal out of the football group.
Trustee Boyton, is that okay then? Thank you. So we have your list of new hires. I'm not sure if you want to comment on that, but thank you for putting that together for the trustees. Ballpark, we have probably about 25 new hires here. Is that somewhere around there? Okay. Any questions from anyone? Okay, that was for information that we asked for. Thanks very much, Mr. Reed, for putting that together for us. And good luck to, of course, all of our new teachers out of the faculty and new teachers to Sunrise School Division. Good luck as your year goes. Board reporting schedule. I'm going to turn that to you as well.
So, of course, as all the trustees know, we do have our annual board reporting schedule that highlights all of the reports that the senior administration team brings to keep the trustees informed. No major changes to the report this year, or the proposed schedule for this year, pardon me. We adjusted some dates just to better align with some reporting that we do to the province and when schools actually collect the information. So some date changes to existing reports. As I alluded to back in the spring, the program leader report was designed to be a one-year report to give the trustees a snapshot into the types of work that our program leaders are doing. So I've removed that, can put it back on if that's the wish of the group. And then every year we do 2 program reviews. And this year I'm proposing that we do a review of the exposures program for our middle year students in the Springfield area, because that would potentially have some pretty significant budget implications. And so, as well as a review of our music and band programs. We've been working in recent years to try and get an accurate instrument inventory. And I think we've done that with some relative confidence, but I think a review of those programs would offer the opportunity to bring some finality to some of those conversations about whether or not we have enough instruments in all of our sites to accommodate those programs. And actually the goal would be have both of those done by December, so the trustees would have that information in advance of the budget conversations. So traditionally every year the board does motion the reporting schedule, so just a couple or 2-part motion there, just bringing forward from the same motion from last year. Oh, sorry, one more thing. And I do apologize because I meant to put it in the report. It was a question for the trustees to consider, so I'm going to hit you with a quick question to consider. In the past years, for your school presentations, we've had our colonies come in groups of 2. And I don't know the history of that or why that was done. I do recognize that sometimes, not always, sometimes our colonies do work together on a school goal, but that's not always the case. And each one of our colonies has, their own goals and their own student data to report on. And if I had my choice, I would actually recommend to the trustees that you separate your colonies and invite your colonies to come in at, one at a time. And I do apologize because I meant to put that comment and that question on the report so you had some time to consider it in advance. I'm kind of giving it to you in the moment, but I would recommend that we do 3 colonies this year and 3 colonies next year, but I throw that out to the group of trustees because there might be some history there that I'm not aware of as well.
So comments about the colonies. Good to have them present themselves as opposing twos. Are we good about doing that? Is he head nodding? I see head nodding. I don't care. No. Good question, Trustee Dent. Mr. Reid?
Well, I think you'd get a mixed bag. I think we have a couple of colony principals that might be a little bit camera shy that, would do appreciate the 5 minutes instead of the 10. And we've got other colony principals that, would say that they're their own unique buildings and would prefer to share with the board. I just think at the end of the day, all of our colonies, they have their goals, they've got their unique student data. While they have some similarities, they're all very different, and I think they all deserve their 10 minutes in the sun. And so,
does that answer your question, Trustee Den? Trustee Rowan?
I'm just trying to do some quick math here in looking at the number of educational sites that we have in our operational departments and how many meetings we have. Would we still be able to get all of our schools in once every 2 years then?
All right, so I saw heads nod. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. This? Is it about the colonies? Okay, so I saw heads nodding about colonies. Are we good about having colonies come individually? Yeah? Okay, so I think we've got that. And, of course.
Just about the report, I noticed we have maintained it with transportation is coming October 6th. And as we have a brand new manager, I'm just wondering if it would be more valuable if we switched him out a little bit later on. Also because this is such a busy time, he might have more information to report after October as to how that initial bus scenario happened. Just wondering if you were consider moving him to a different day.
Kind of interesting, because I just wrote a note to Superintendent Reid, and I said, could the transportation manager stop by next Tuesday at our board meeting for our board to meet us no report, maybe just how the going and where's the water level. But we're talking about somebody that's doing something, and I haven't met him, and I don't know, has any of the trustees met him? Well, you guys interviewed him, I think. You interviewed him. There was a couple of you that interviewed. Anyways, so I just asked that question. So it's not that I want to put pressure on anyone or whatever, but I would like to, like, there's some huge decisions that are going on. Whether he can do that or not is something, but it was something about, hey, could we just come by and say hello and face to him? The report's not a bad idea about giving him some breathing room, though.
Yes, I already, so I didn't lose track. I sent an email to Jody over here, who I think has already sent him a text to say, hey, come out to the next board meeting for an introduction. And so, and yeah, and point well made, about just, giving him a little bit of breathing room. And so when I look at the board reporting schedule, I do see a pretty simple switch between the transportation department and the human resources department there in January. And so, I think we can make that switch and accommodate that.
Because we can drill that Pachuski guy. Okay, so that's not bad at all. Good point. Okay, thanks for going ahead and doing that. So, be it resolved that the board adopt the 2026 board reports document as their schedule for regular reports presented to the board throughout the 2026-27 school year. That was a mouthful. And be it further resolved that the schedule remain open to change by the board or the superintendent, but provides a proactive structure of targeted items for the superintendent to prepare throughout the course of the year. I need a mover and a seconder, and then we can discuss. Moved by Trustee Dent and seconded by Trustee Wilson. Any comments then as we move forward? Do you like the idea about the music, the band program, and the exposure program? Certainly getting some information there, getting them for December, I think is a real good idea for us to go ahead and for whatever board is here with regard to budget. Any comments on that? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. I guess it passed 8-0. There we go. Can you click off of that? So it passed 8-0. Thank you. So there's two next items, and those are the things that I've put forward. If you're not aware, is that I have been going to Health Workforce Coalition meetings with some of the municipalities to talk about it. So other of you are interested, but I do think it's a good idea for us to continue to go ahead and do that. So what I'm asking for is your permission to go ahead and represent us there. And if there are other trustees that want to come, you're more than welcome to. But this would be, I do need to get your permission to go ahead and go to those meetings. So there's a motion on the floor that be it resolved that the board approve Trustee Magna. Before I put the motion on the floor, is there anyone else that wants to come to these meetings? Yes. Okay. So be it resolved that the board approve Trustee Magna to attend meetings of the IRHA Health Workforce Development Coalition. Moved by Trustee Rowan, seconded by Trustee Boytson. Any questions to it? Yep. Go ahead, Trustee Rowan.
Can I make a recommendation that we amend it slightly to have a timeline so that it's not something that's indefinite? All of our other positions have a one-year term where we re-elect people, and I think if we're looking to potentially compensate somebody for their time too, we're going to want to be able to reevaluate that with budget considerations.
So thanks for that. This would be, I think that this would be similar to what we would go ahead and do for yearly committees. This would be something as a yearly committee that someone would go to. So who made the motion? Sarah? So if we can make the motion that it's for an annual basis. Will that satisfy that? So be it resolved that that the board approve Trustee Magna to attend meetings of the IRHA Coalition September the 1st to August 31st. give the dates of 2026, 27. Or to even the language to coincide with our other committees. What? So that's a good point there. That is a really good point. Yeah. That is a really good point. That's good. Yeah. So how do we deal with that? Sure. Be it resolved that the board approve Trustee Magna to attend meetings of the RHA Health Workforce Development Coalition until October the 15th. And then our inaugural meeting, we'll put this on there for committees. Is that okay? So the people that, are we okay with that adjustment for the people that made the motion? Are we good to that? Are we good with that then for the rest of the people? Okay. Hearing no further comment, we'll vote. Oh, I'm sorry.
So at agenda setting, one of the questions we brought up about this was, are we expecting reports back, either verbal or written, to an item such as this? And some of the comments that came up were, when the board attends our municipal type things or the area meetings, we generally don't ask for a written report from all trustees, but we do have a verbal feedback session at a meeting. In this case, are we expecting Trustee Magnan to provide us a written report after each meeting?
Just to point at the Eastman Forum that we attend, they do provide the agenda. We share the agenda minutes and attachments with everybody already, so we can review the meeting information. And I don't know, maybe that's possible for Paul to have that provided?
Yeah, so I don't have I think that's a really good idea. The bigger question, I think, that in agenda setting we said is that as trustees are going out and representing the division, should trustees then have a responsibility to report back to the board, whether it's verbal or written? Usually the only written reports we come is that if you travel and you're going to PD. But what about when we have our liaison committee meeting? Or we have minutes when we have our ad hoc meeting, people report back. Or we have, my question is that when somebody is representing the division, do they have a responsibility of coming back and reporting to the board about it? I think we do. So the question I think that Robin's bringing up is, should it be in writing, or is it something that's in written or in a verbal report? And that's something, again, I think that as a group we should chat about. And whether we're ready to talk about it and decide it tonight, or bring it up at the next meeting, that's fine. But I just kind of want, where are people's heads in this? Because we did have this conversation, thanks Robin, at agenda setting. Trustee Smith.
It should be at least verbal. I think written would be a lot. And like Diane goes to, what do you go to? Chamber of Commerce. You don't go to them anymore? Okay, well you were. So then she would have been doing verbals for those. So I think at least a verbal, 2-minute verbal better, like written I think would be quite a lot to be expected. But verbal for sure.
Anyone else want to weigh in? Trustee Boyton?
I think it's almost a given that if somebody's going to any, like for professional development, the division is paying extra money for that there should be a written report. If you're going just as on a committee, it's like committee, you're not, I think if there is something to really share, that the person would automatically do that. Even if it's just a quick update, that, you know, nothing that we don't already know or whatever, but not too, like we don't want overkill. You know, just, I think it's just as a trustee, see it should be their duty that if there is something to share, that they would share it.
And I agree with those comments. I just wanted to make sure that everyone is on the same page with this or any other position that's appointed like this. What is the expectation?
So just to make sure, the expectation is you do come back and do some verbal kind of sharing. If you're going on some kind of professional development, we are asking for some kind of a written report. Is that what we got heads nodding for? Okay, perfect. So I guess I need to call the question. You got the question? Okay, it's already there. All right. So hang on, we'll vote. Okay, so I abstained since it was involving me and passed. Thank you. And the last one is that be it resolved that the board retroactively approve Trustee Magna to attend the June 30th meeting with the municipalities at the Manitoba Legislature. So I need someone to move it. Are you moving it, Alicia? Yeah. All right. Okay, moved by Trustee Smith and seconded by Trustee Dent. Any questions to this? Since you already heard the report, you better like it, I guess, as to where it is. Hearing none, we'll vote. So in 8 years, I've never abstained, and now closing the, I'm abstaining on 2 things. Like, what the heck is that about? So I didn't even know we had a yellow button. Okay, let's keep going. 810, debenture, promissory note. This is you, Jody.
So annually, or not annually, the province awards us capital projects every once in a while, and we had some lingering capital projects that needed to be finalized. So some of those projects were our Dougald School modular classroom. It was Beausejour Early Years. They received a modular classroom in 22. We had been approved for Powerview School, the roof replacement study. If you all remember that the Powerview School had significant water damage in the gym, the province is now debenturing the study that they're doing, and then we've been awarded additional funding for SCI for their mechanical system exterior wall and roof replacement project. So in total, there's about $752,000 of a promissory note. It doesn't mean that we are making this payment. This is the province basically saying we're giving you these dollars. We've already spent these dollars. The province will return those dollars back to us, and they will finance it on their end. And this is just the paperwork to finalize the promissory note between us and the province and their financial institution. So it's basically a requirement that we have to do to show the debenture, and we reflect this on our books as well in our fiscal statements.
Thanks for that, Jody. So be it resolved that the board approve the promissory note LTPSO 09241 for the sum of $752,400 as outlined for the capital project of the Beausejour Early Years School, the Dougald School, Powerview School, and Springfield Collegiate. Moved by Trustee Smith and seconded by...
Written and vented on the document, there is no 1 in the number. So our motion that...
So it's not 924...
She's already changed to...
Okay.
Yeah.
So it reads as LTP 0924. All right? And then Powerview School and Springfield Collegiate. Moved by Trustee Smith and seconded by Trustee Boydson. Thanks for catching that. Any questions on that? Yes, ma'am?
Sorry, there you go. In the legal document that attached to this information, it states in there that the division will include in its budget each year the sums required for the purpose of this division to pay back. So when we add that to our budget line, this $750,000, like, I guess it's just, how is that transposed as part of their funding to us, or it's just a way of them to like slide in this funding into our proportion of funding and education that they give us?
Yeah. So we reflect. We don't really We don't reflect these items as a budgeted item because they're in a capital, but we do reflect that those are capital costs. So we do show them in our financial statements. There's a line that says transfer to capital in our operating statement that we do monthly, and that is shown in the monthly statements we do, as well as our frame statements. We show that capital amount, what we've incurred. So the 700,000, we've already shown throughout from the year 22 all the way to present day. So we've incurred these costs through capital already. So there's nothing budgeting. We're not raising 750,000. We basically are showing 750 is what we spent, and the province is sending us 750. So we'll reflect that. Yes, but it doesn't come as the annual payments don't come as budgeted dollars. So, yeah, yeah. There's no, because we do not pay the annual payments. So we show the expense that occurs, and we will show in our financial statements the dollar amount that comes, and then that's it. We do reflect the liability. So you'll see the big debenture of millions of dollars, but we don't show a budgeted dollar amount we need to collect from the taxpayers for these annual payments. Yeah.
Are we good? Okay, so we'll call the question. And it passed 8-0. Thank you for that. So we're in committee reports, our policy committee update. I don't think, Trustee Rowan, we've had a policy meeting for the, okay, so nothing to update, I guess. Do you know when your next one is, or do you have one?
Not yet, but we'll be setting one before the election so we can get a start on that for this year.
Thank you. The Finance Committee, Trustee Boyton, anything from the Finance Committee that you want to report on?
The minutes are there. We have a date set of September 17th, and we'll be reviewing the June, July, and August check registers at that time.
Thank you. Any questions from the minutes from anyone? The Finance Committee? Okay, hearing none. Be it resolved, our check register. Be it resolved, the board received the May 2026 check register with a total amount of checks issued at $5,151,902.93, reviewed on June 13th by the Finance Committee for information as submitted. Moved by Trustee Boyton and seconded by Trustee Dent. Any questions to this? Hearing none, we'll vote. Okay, thank you for doing that. That's our check register. There's nothing from the Ed Foundation. There's nothing from the Ad Hoc Land Planning Committee. Trustee Rowan.
I'm just going to recommend that we remove this for future meetings, as we made a recommendation not to move forward with this committee for this year.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So we'll go ahead and do that. Thank you. I'm going to move forward with professional development. So the Northeastman Municipal Forum, Victoria Beach on October the 5th. So the capsule conference with information from Trustee Smith, and then the gathering that Trustee Rowland and Trustee Wilson are going to go ahead and that hour-long presentation next time we get together. Thank you for that. Nice to know. Thanks for sharing the information, Jody, about what was going on with regard to the Indigenous Games, about using the Powerview School, the gymnasium. And it was a week before that I was in the gymnasium, and they were just putting the final touches on the gym floor where they've renovated it, and you know, it does look really nice. And so nice work for getting that done. Upcoming meetings, we have on September the 1st and September the 15th. We're back at it next Tuesday. Certainly we have the press release, you know, with our new transportation manager, and I think that we'll get a chance to meet that transportation manager as soon as possible. There's a number of MSB correspondence there, reminding about some of the different things that are going on. So certainly about as an election comes forward. 14.1 is questions from the public. Jody, are there any questions from the public?
No, just a reminder that Dwayne has to attend next week, so that's about it.
All right, so we do need to go back into in-camera, and there potentially, is there going to be any motions out of in-camera? No. Okay, so there's not going to be any motions, so we can adjourn, and then we do need to move in camera. So, yeah, our meeting's adjourned, and we'll get into in camera in about 3 or 4 minutes. Thank you for that.